Alrighty, everyone. Matt back here with another video for y'all. Appreciate y'all for watching this as always. Make sure you guys will like the video, comment if you have any questions, anything you want to discuss in the comment section, and also share this video out to one person if you guys possibly can. We will be having live severe weather coverage this afternoon, probably between 3 and 5 p.m. Central Time is what I'm thinking. You guys can see that green and yellow colored risk zone on your screen here. We've got a lot to actually talk about today. We got a lot to talk about as far as the live stream goes tonight. We're gonna have a pretty big severe weather event, I think, over the next couple of days. Some repetitive severe weather events over the next couple of days from much of the Midwest, Great Plains, Northern Plains. We've got much of the Great Lakes area. We've got the Ohio Valley, the Northeast, and we're also focusing now on a potential tropical system that could turn into a tropical depression or storm here in the next 6 to 7 days. And then the models are starting to grasp onto the idea of that we could maybe even have a hurricane potentially down the road. Now, that's a little bit of a long way fetched idea right now, but that's something that we're watching. There's still a lot of differences with the models, and we'll talk more about that here in just a second on what we could be seeing with that here in just a little bit. Make sure you guys, like I said, as always, share this out to one person, and we'll go ahead and dive into this. As you guys can see on the screen here, we have a marginal and a slight risk of severe weather. The marginal risk is actually pretty big. You can see it goes into parts of Nevada, Utah, Idaho. We've got Wyoming, Colorado. We've got Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, and Montana. The biggest severe weather part today is going to be up here into the Minnesota area. We've got parts of North Dakota and South Dakota, and a level 2 slight risk. There is a 2% tornado risk that doesn't cover this whole entire slight risk today. This is something that we're going to be watching very, very closely over the next couple of days here, or just in general today. We're going to have another risk there tomorrow as well, potentially even one on Sunday or Monday as well. So kind of be mindful of that up here. Hail, damaging winds, and a couple tornadoes can't be ruled out. There is a bit of a capping inversion that's going to be in place today. That's basically a temperature inversion. Thunderstorms can't break through a lid in the atmosphere because of a heat indifference in the atmosphere with different height. The stronger you go up in the atmosphere, the higher you go up, there's a temperature drop, and so we have to wait for those temperatures to climb down to where the dew points are temperature wise, and that will be once the sun sets. So I'm thinking the initiation with these storms will be around sunset this afternoon once we get those storms fired off and going. We could see a line, we could see a couple broken supercells. If storms do stay discreet, we could have a couple tornadoes with that. Back down here to that level 1 marginal risk into South Dakota, the general risk is going to be wind and hail. I don't really see an isolated tornado, but you can never rule that out with the severe weather setup. We'll go ahead and we'll pop over to what we're going to be looking at as far as the risk zone goes for today. What are we going to be seeing with the models? What are the models showing? And so some of the models have that capping inversion being strong, and they're not really showing a lot of thunderstorm convection. Some are showing that, so there's still a little bit of a disagreement with the models. That's why we will be live just in case something happens this afternoon. Except we're really going to be more talking about what's going to be happening tomorrow and on Monday and Tuesday, and then as we go into the weekend for that tropical system. But you can see the models around 3 or 4 o'clock. We can start to see some thunderstorm initiation over here near the Grand Forks area, Thief River Valleys area, International Falls as well, potentially seeing some severe storms. And then it's as we go into 6 and 5 o'clock, we start to see a lot of storms break out across the Rockies here. This is something we're going to watch. This is a general wind and hail risk. You can have an elevated tornado potential spin up here with these. That typically happens a lot of the times. Can't ever rule that out. So just be mindful. This is a daytime heating event once again. So once the sun sets, most of this thunderstorm activity will start to dwindle, as you see later on tonight. So you can see right around the 11 o'clock to 10 o'clock hour, we need to watch up here near that slight risk where Grand Forks is, Thief Rivers, Interstate 29 here. This is where I think we could see a couple complexes of storms, maybe a couple supercells pop off with some wind and hail, maybe a brief spin up tornado. The tornado parameters are actually relatively decent here in this area today, so we do need to watch for that spin. But you can see most of the thunderstorm coverage is gone after, I'd say, 10, 11 midnight tonight down here in much of that marginal risk. And then as we go into tomorrow, we do have another risk, and I think tomorrow's risk is going to be a little bit bigger. I am going to be going live for tomorrow as well, guys. We now have an upgraded slight risk for parts of northern Kansas, Nebraska, and South Dakota, and far south North Dakota, parts of western Minnesota here. I do see the potential maybe for even an upgraded enhanced risk potentially if the confidence in a wind potential increases. This is not going to be a tornado-driven event. This would be a wind-driven event. The thought of an MCS, a mesoscale convective scale system, is going to be possible tomorrow. We could see winds maybe 70 plus or higher tomorrow. I think 60 to 70 will be the window, but we could see some wind gusts higher than that in this area. So make sure you have stuff tied down, trampolines, anything outside belongings-wise for today and tomorrow. Just kind of be mindful of that. Instability will be high. We'll have pretty decent dew points. We'll have some tornado parameters present. The tornado potential is actually going to be strongest up here into that slight risk where South Dakota sits. We'll have an elevated tornado risk there, so kind of be mindful of that. It'll be a little bit conditional. But as we go through tomorrow afternoon, it looks to be we're going to have a couple areas that see MCSs. You can actually see that low. We'll see some storms initiate around 4 and 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, just south of Dickinson and Bismarck, North and South Dakota there. And then as we go through parts of the later afternoon hours towards the dinner time hours, we start to see more storms pop up near Hays, Kansas, Broken Bow. I think we'll have a more bigger complex of damaging wind, and this is where I think that enhanced or slight risk gets upgraded here as we go through tomorrow afternoon, late tomorrow evening. Around 8 or 9 o'clock, we have a pretty strong Boeing line segment working through parts of South and North Dakota, and then this actually goes through much of 11 o'clock to midnight. Back down here into parts of the Nebraska and Kansas area, Grand Island, Lincoln, Kearney, Omaha, be mindful for some storms. And then as we go into the overnight hours here, it looks to be that we start to see storms break out across much of Iowa. These will be less severe weather on the severe weather side as of right now. And then up here, that complex starts to fall apart as that low moves up into Canada around the morning hours of your Monday morning. So just kind of be mindful of that. And then as we go into Monday, we're still waiting to see what the Storm Prediction Center is going to show. It does look to be that we are going to potentially see some severe weather across the Ohio Valley on Monday. I might actually go chase on Monday if conditions do stay favorable here in Western Kentucky. We're right on that marginal risk. There's a level 1 marginal risk for much of the Midwest and Ohio Valley. I think this will be upgraded potentially to a slight risk maybe as we get closer to future outlooks with this forecast on Monday. So be mindful, the whole state of Illinois in a marginal risk. Iowa, Missouri, parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Indiana, and then Western Kentucky as well into that. I think that could be either shrunken or enlarged as we go over the next couple of days. I do want to stay focused on something as well with the risk zone. We could see maybe a small marginal risk issued, I think maybe for tomorrow for parts of the southern Ohio Valley. And the reason I say that is we do have an upper level low that's been bringing, or a weak upper level low that's been bringing a lot of showers and storms and some flooding problems down to Texas and Oklahoma. And this low is actually stationary right over top of Missouri and parts of Illinois and Indiana. As we kind of speak as of right now. And as we go through tomorrow, tonight into tomorrow, we start to see one round of storms that works through tomorrow morning through parts of Western Kentucky, Southern Illinois, Indiana. These should just be general thunderstorms. But as we go through tomorrow afternoon, we're going to watch for some flooding and maybe some general isolated wind and hail to break out across maybe Western Kentucky, parts of Central Tennessee, maybe even parts of Illinois and Indiana tomorrow. So kind of be mindful of this tomorrow afternoon. With that daytime heating, we could see a little bit of spin with that low. Sometimes you can get a little bit of forced spin with these upper level lows that are weakening as they move across areas. So kind of be mindful of that here in the Southern Ohio Valley tomorrow. Just kind of something to keep note of. I'm definitely watching it just in case something does happen. And then as we go into Monday, we'll have to see what happens across the Ohio Valley with, Mars risk zone. So overall, the next 48 hours, we'll look at these rainfall totals for you guys really, really quickly here. We'll talk about this, then we'll head to the tropics. Overall rain totals for much of the next 48 hours. You can see, there's some heavy pockets of rainfall, maybe up here into my backyard, Owensboro, Evansville, Indiana, Kentucky area here, 2 to 3 inches of rainfall. Nashville, maybe Murfreesboro, 2 to 3 inches of rain. You can see, isolated 1 to 3 inch pockets, maybe some higher elevated areas can see some higher inch rainfall totals, but we're not looking at anything crazy as far as flash flooding unless you get under one of those thunderstorms that can produce some potential significant rainfall. So that's just something to be mindful of. Let's go ahead and let's talk about what we're looking at in the tropics. And we'll go over here and we'll go to the nhc.com and we'll see what they're saying as far as these outlooks go. We now have a upgraded 50% risk zone for the Eastern Pacific Ocean here, and we'll go ahead and pop over to that. We've got a 50% chance of there being a tropical cyclone formation in the next 7 days. That is off the coast of Mexico. We're actually going to watch this one specifically right now as well, just because of the fact that there could be a potential maybe for a slight turn. Don't quote me on that. This is just something we're watching with the models. We have to watch this time of the year for these storms near Baja, California. We had Hillary last year that produced a landfalling hurricane in Baja. So kind of be mindful of that. We've got another area to watch. This will be way off into the Pacific Ocean. This is not going to have any issues. But the one we're watching in the Atlantic Ocean is starting to become more and more concerning. And the European model, we'll show this here in just a second, has a pretty strong storm potentially making its way off the coast of Florida as we go into part of the end of next week and into the weekend of next week. And so that'd be the first weekend of August. The some models still have, this kind of going into the Gulf. There's a lot of scenarios with this. We're still watching this very closely. This was upgraded from a 20 to a 30% chance this afternoon. So we are going to have to watch this very, very closely. Be mindful of what you guys see on this platform and other platforms. There's going to be a lot of people that try to grab onto this and they don't know what they're talking about. And they're going to try and say, hey, there's a Category 5 hurricane coming to Florida. There's not. Florida, you guys need to be prepped just in case there is something that does come your way. That cone or that area of disturbance here that we're looking at could be potentially, something to watch over the next couple of days for you guys. But a lot of the models actually have this missing Florida and either skirting off the coast or, going into the Gulf of Mexico. And I think the European models actually got this more off the coast of the Carolinas with a low pressure system that could keep this offshore. Now, that's be a good thing. If we get a low that develops through the middle of the week that produces some severe weather in the Northeast, if that cold front is strong enough, it could actually pull the system east more than it would into the Gulf of Mexico. If it's weaker, we could have open waters. So there's a lot of forecasting to come with. There's a lot of updates to come with this. So don't freak out, guys. Just be mindful. We are in now getting ready to be closer to that heart of hurricane season. So we need to have preparations and everything ready to go for this scenario. What we're going to talk about here is going to be that European model run, and I'll show you guys kind of what we're looking like over the next couple of days. You can see that low developing today, tomorrow, and through Monday. And this is where that severe weather is going to be active in the northern and central plains over the next 3 to 4 days. We could have even a little upper level low disturbance off the coast of the Northeast. It could bring a little bit of rain into Boston, maybe Maine. But as far as general thunderstorms go over the next couple of days, we'll see that high pressure system dominate over the Carolinas, bringing some general thunderstorms to much of the Ohio Valley. And then as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, you can see general thunderstorms breaking out over the Ohio Valley, maybe a couple days of severe weather there. It's really on the bottom right of your screen. We're going to be watching two things. Once we get to next Thursday, August 1st, the first official day of August, we're going to have a low over Kansas potentially, and this could bring some severe weather, maybe here into the Midwest and the parts of the northern and central plains. What we're also going to be watching for is that disturbance coming off of the coast of the Bahamas here that's going to start to work its way into the United States region. And this is what we have to watch for down here on the bottom right of the screen. I'll have to drop the screen down here. On the bottom right of the screen, this is going to be that tropical wave. Now, the European model has been pretty consistent with a right-hand turn, potentially keeping this off the coastline and not having any U.S. impacts as far as landfall. This would bring some waves, some winds, some rain out the outer bands. This would be best case scenario as of right now. The GFS model yesterday was very, very aggressive with this storm, and it had it going into the Gulf. It had a landfall in Texas. It had a landfall in Mississippi. It had a landfall this morning in Florida. The GFS as of noon this afternoon has nothing now. It has that wave just breaking up and doing nothing in the Gulf. The European has been pretty consistent with showing this storm off the coast of Florida and making it, into the eastern United coastline region. So this is why I'm starting to get a little bit more concerned with the European model trending a little bit. This is just something we have to watch for over the next couple of days. So now the European, it starts to show those water temperatures. Those water temperatures are warm off the coast of the Carolinas and off the coast of Florida here. This could make a rapid intensification process if this does take that trend. So we're going to have to watch this very closely. But seeing this stay off the coastline is going to be a lot better than having this come inland, because then we would have clearly way worse impacts than that. So watching this to see what's going to happen over the next couple of days is going to be a huge, huge concern. Make sure you guys stay focused to my videos. Make sure y'all join the live streams. We're going to have a lot of questions. We're going to have a lot of things to talk about as far as this goes. There's going to be a lot of details that come out with this system. I'm hoping that the European model can just somehow, for some reason, this goes away, but I think we are going to have some type of system as we go into next weekend that could have, U.S. impact implications potentially. So make sure if you're on the coast of the Carolinas, if you're on the coast, the East Coast at all, if you're in the Gulf of Mexico, you have a way to get your watches, your warnings, all of that stuff. If you have hurricane prep and you're not prepared, and you should be, especially after Beryl happened in Texas and Louisiana and up the coastline, you need to have your hurricane preparedness plans now, because we could be either looking at something small, we could be looking at something medium, or we could have major impacts as we go into this time frame of next weekend. So here in the next 7 to 10 days. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. Look for a live stream here in the next couple of hours. We'll be on talking and covering severe weather and just kind of talking about the general pattern of everything going on. We'll be giving you guys updates to what's going to be coming up to this tropical system and severe weather. Be safe, guys. Be weather aware. If you were in the central plains with that heat dome also going on, we're going to be expecting temperatures well above 110 degrees for a lot of areas in Kansas and Oklahoma. So be hydrated, have a way to get sunscreen, have all that kind of stuff. So just be weather aware, guys. But other than that, I'll see y'all on the stream tonight. Be safe, be weather aware, guys.